Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Q&A show on Inside the Birds platform. My name is Jason Avant. I'm here with my main man, Quintin Mikell. Say what up to the people, Q.
What's up, everybody? Another installment. We're back again. We're ready to have some fun, man. As always, let's get it going.
All right, we're ready to have some fun. Eagles out of the playoffs, but went a lot further than we anticipated, so that's a good thing. Thank God for the 7 seeds so they can have some playoff experience going forward and know what it's like to be in the playoffs where it's a different game totally. We saw it this weekend, best divisional round probably in history with the Titans and the Bengals and the Chiefs and the Bills and the Rams. It was all around Packers and Niners. It was all around just a great weekend. But before we get into that, let's do a little house cleaning, Q. Saying thank you to Jeff and to Adam and to Josh and Hunter, everyone at Inside the Birds. We want to say thank you for allowing myself and Q to have the Inside the Birds platform with a Q&A show. All the fans that are making this show a success, we appreciate you guys. Continue to email your questions to insidethebirds@gmail.com. This is that time of the year we're going to be answering a lot more of your questions. So make sure that you do that. Insidethebirds@gmail.com. We'll be still hitting you with this fresh fire, even in the off season, talking about all of these topics, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, the teams that are going forward in the playoffs, all of that. So without further ado, Q, let's talk about this divisional weekend, playoff weekend. Like, this is amazing. What was your favorite game this weekend?
Oh my God, I have to say, I mean, I loved all the games. This is probably the best weekend of football I think I've ever seen in my life. But nothing can top the Buffalo Bills and the Chiefs game. I mean, that was just masterful, man. The only thing that would have made that game better is if both teams would have had the opportunity to possess the ball.
Oh, now we get into something else. We get into something else. Hold on, wait, before we get there. All right, remind me of that. We got to come back to that. Okay, we got to come back to that. All right. So that game was great, but all of them. It was like it was so many opportunities. I marveled at Tom Brady bringing the Bucs back with the third string right tackle, a shoddy left tackle, no Antonio Brown, no Chris Godwin, defense playing like trash. Just started throwing some dimes and getting back, and they got a few breaks, but that was pretty impressive. I thought they were going to win that game. I was like, dude, if he wins this game against that D line, you guys don't realize. Like, I don't know how many times that we've seen in history where you got two Hall of Fame defensive tackle, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, who's a Hall of Famer. Both of those guys are going to be Hall of Fame players. And then you got Floyd on the other side as a perennial Pro Bowler. That D line was bananas. Like, I don't know how any team is going to be able to compete with that, just to be honest with you. But the Bills game, the last quarter and a half, oh my gosh, I was in heaven. I was in heaven this whole weekend from all of them. Seeing the 49ers D-line make Aaron Rodgers look like his name was, he looked regular.
Yeah,
he looked real regular. The D-line made him look really regular that week. I was like, oh my gosh, they were getting after him.
The Green Bay game was probably my least favorite, but I agree with you. Just seeing Aaron Rodgers kind of get his butt whooped all game was definitely special for me.
He was frazzled. I've never seen him not be cool.
Yeah,
because he's always cool and usually find the open guy, but he felt like he didn't have the time to, so he was missing people. And he normally never misses because he usually is able to manipulate the pocket and buy a little bit more time. He didn't feel like he had any time. So he was like, it just changed. And that's what happens. These playoffs, it shows you who's who.
Yes, sir.
It shows you the difference. And I love it because that was the environment as a player that I thrived in most, is that type of pressure-filled environment. Because as a player, I felt like if everything is going well and it's the regular season, you may not think that you need me as a coach. But when them playoffs come around and the game started to be on the line, you were getting like, oh, we need this dude on our team. Like, you know what I mean? So like the playoffs was like the like those people that love pressure, that love the moment, like you thrive in that time, you know, and so it's nothing better than it.
Absolutely.
All right.
You know what? Hold on, I gotta say this too because you kind of brought it up for me. But you remember the movie Angels in the Outfield?
Yeah.
All right, so there was a point in that game, in the Bucks game, in the Rams game, where I was like, they got to have some kind of angels on that field today. Like there was that second half, there was so much random stuff happening. I mean,
Yeah.
guys that ain't fumbled in like weeks, all of a sudden just losing the ball,
Just losing the ball,
and then dropping right to the man. I'm like, yo,
the snap
and
goes over his head. He wasn't even prepared. He wasn't even started his cadence yet. I'm like, why would the center snap it right there? There's 16 seconds left on the clock.
I was like, man, if Brady comes back and win this game, they might as well just put him in the Hall of Fame like the day after the Super Bowl, because there's nothing better than there's nothing else we're gonna be talking about for the next 20 years. But
yeah, it was great. So let's talk about it, right? So what stood out in the Allen Mahomes when it comes to quarterback play? This is a tough one.
Yeah.
Why are they so much better than others? They're elite. Like, what stood out the most to you? I mean, and let's put some let's put some context on it so everybody can get an understanding of what we're talking about in that game, right? So let's think about these numbers. Josh Allen, 27 of 37, 329 yards, 4 touchdowns, 136 quarterback rating. Right? Wow. 4 touchdowns. He accounted for 4 passing touchdowns in that game. Right? Mm-hmm. And 136 rating. I don't know if a quarterback ever has thrown 4 touchdowns and had 136 quarterback rating and with 0 interceptions and lost the game. I don't know if that's ever happened. And yeah, Patrick Mahomes, 33 for 44, 378, 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing. So he had 4 touchdowns as well. 123 quarterback rating, but had the ball last.
Ooh.
Like, no turnovers.
None.
4 touchdowns apiece, 3 rushing, 3 passing, 1 rushing for Holmes, 4 passing for Allen. Like, I just want to give you a context before you answer that question.
Yeah. I mean, what stood out to me the most was, just the arm talent and the athleticism coupled together with the intelligence. I mean, it's like the whole package. Those guys, they were just on fire the entire game. Mm-hmm. And even on the plays, the design run plays by Allen, he was just trucking. He was running people over. It was like every single offensive play, both sides of the ball that they called were just executed perfectly. And then on top of that, when you got quarterbacks that can throw the ball from any arm angle, can throw, off their back foot, running up the field, running sideways, running left. It's just on a different level. We were seeing that game. We were seeing just some of the best arm talent I think we'll ever see in the game.
Yeah, I agree. So you're talking about live arms. First of all, Josh Allen's arm is the strongest arm that we've seen in probably the last 10 years in NFL. Yeah. Like, his arm talent is even better than Patrick Mahomes as far as strength wise. Not necessarily creative throwing, but just like arm strength. You can see that on the 60-yard rope that he threw. That ball did not go above 25 feet in the air. It was a rope. It wasn't high and all the way down the field like you would throw it in a quarterback competition, throwing it for yards. No, that was a 60-yard rope. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? It wasn't just that it was 60 yards. It was that it was on a straight line. It was up and down so fast that nobody could do anything about it. Right? It was unbelievable. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, what is going on here? And the one that Mahomes was rolling right, and wrapped it around a defender low and away to the receiver, like literally wrapped it around somebody. They showed the angle of what he was looking at, from his camera. You saw a dude a yard and a half outside of him, and he threw it and wrapped it around him. It went right past his hand. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, why would you be – that you are a bad man for you to even attempt that. It was the audacity to attempt it. It wasn't just that he made it. It was that he attempted it. Even if he would have missed it, I would have been impressed. But he made it.
Incredible.
I was like, this is when it came to watching a football game all this weekend, it's the closest to heaven a football fan can get.
Absolutely.
It was the closest thing to heaven a football fan can get right there, man. It was that, and like you said, Josh Allen with his legs, like he had 11 rushes, 68 yards, 6.8 yards a carry, or whatever it was, or 6.2 yards a carry. Yeah, like he's a beast, running it, throwing it, whatever. And then the other thing too is that this is what I pick up from them, and we can move on because we got a lot to cover. But this is what impresses me about them. Everybody on the field feels like they can get the ball. The receivers play that way. The tight ends play that way because those guys have matured to the point where the whole field is a viable option. It's not what the coach have told me. It's not that the play at the end of the game, Patrick Mahomes, the whole play is on the right side of the field. And he actually had Tyreek Hill and Pringle on the right side of the field, the one that he threw to Kelsey down the seam that put him in field goal range. The entire play is on the right side of the field.
Wow.
But they saw something that wasn't there. They communicated and said, look, forget the play over here. I know this is a more viable option. And that's what happens when you get this type of quarterback play. Gabriel Davis, who's the second, third receiver, third option, fourth option when Emmanuel Sanders is healthy, right? He comes in, Emmanuel Sanders been hurt most of the season. He comes in, he's balling. He gets 4 touchdowns, 208 yards. That could be Quez Watkins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how it is. That those guys are maturing at such a rate. And it's not just that they're just talented. They have good coaching. Mm-hmm. They have talent. And they want to put in the work. But I will say this, that what they're starting with, just God-given, is here. And most people's level are here. Mm-hmm. So they're always going to have – so no matter how you work, that distance is not changing because if they're working hard too. So their talent level is unbelievable and a great job. They have a great offense coordinator in Dable, who's going to get a head coaching job somewhere soon, like really soon, in the next couple of days probably because, I've been knowing him for years and I know how great of a mind he is when he was in New England.
Called a great game. He called a great game.
All right, let's talk about it because you mentioned it. We getting there. How do you feel the overtime rule? You like it, or you dislike it? Would you change it? And remember, now I want to hear your take because you play defense.
Yeah,
I want to hear the defense's take. Let's hear the defense's take. I think I know what you're going to say.
So I'm gonna put it this way. So first of all, the college rule is out for me. I think guys will end up getting injured. I think it's a no deal. In the regular season, even. I think the way it was is fine. I just think in the postseason with so much on the line that I think it should be each team should at least have one offensive possession. Now, whatever happens after each team gets one offensive possession, that's it. I actually think that would make the game even more exciting because let's say the Chiefs go up by touchdown 7 points. Well, now it's 4 down territory every way out for the Bills, right? Mm-hmm. Flip side, if Chiefs go out and they kick a field goal, So, like, to me, the only difference between actually being able to continue the game is whether the first team scores a touchdown. Because if they kick a field goal, then the other team gets a chance to have possession of the
Exactly.
ball. So, to me, we're talking about a couple points in a game that could end the season. So, I think in the postseason, it should be each team. If one team scores a touchdown, the other team should get the opportunity to score a touchdown at least. And then after that, it's all hell breaks loose. That's just my feeling. I like the way all the rules are in the regular season. I'm okay in the regular season if there ends a game and
Yeah, because you got to see you got 15 games left, 13 games left, 9 games left, 8 games. There's no tomorrow in the playoffs.
Yes, that's exactly. Yep.
I agree with your rule. I thoroughly agree with it, right? And I agree with every part of it, from the college point that you made. And the college point, to me, is just not people getting hurt. Is you limit it to situational football, and the game shouldn't be limited to situational football. There are some teams that are great in the red zone. There are other teams that are not great in the red zone, and now you make it a red zone game. It shouldn't be that way.
Good point.
Right. Yeah. So therefore, I'm not with that. It should be a complete football game as it is when you're playing. You don't just start on the opponent's 20-yard line.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It just you just don't. So I agree with that point from the collegiate standpoint. And now in the regular season, we got more games to play. Let's put a time limit on it. First blood or whatever it is. But that doesn't make sense that a team that scores a touchdown in the playoffs, the team that scores a touchdown wins the game. But if you kick a field goal, you get to continue. It doesn't make sense like that. What we're saying is both teams needs a possession. And yes. I agree with that. And there's a lot of proponents out there that are saying, hey, just play some defense. Okay. I hear what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But it's the best quarterback in the last whatever many years playing on the other side. Neither one of us have been able to be stopped the entire game. Exactly. And at least allow both offenses to touch the ball. Yeah. In the playoffs. Allow both teams to touch the ball. Could the defense have done better? Yeah. Could Buffalo have won the game in overtime? I mean, without it going to overtime in regulation? Yes, they should have. If they squid the ball down the field, get a couple seconds off the clock, couple different things, right? Could that have happened? Yes. Should they have won the game? Yes. But that doesn't mean that the overtime rules, both teams should be able to touch the ball. And I agree with you, Q.
I agree. Now I'm gonna throw something out there because I just thought of this. All right, so let's say
they should have won that game, though, Q.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
Who, the Chiefs?
The Bills.
Or you mean the Bills? Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of frustrating because it came down to a coin toss. I mean, it
came down in overtime. I'm talking about regulation.
Oh,
the Bills had 13 seconds. You cannot lose a game in freaking 13 seconds. Not when you just can't. Mortar the thing down there. Do something to make them feel that ball within the field of play without it going out of the end zone, going to the sideline. Do something of that nature to make them pick that ball up on the 10, 15-yard line. So they got to pick it up and run it.
Good point.
And waste 3-4 seconds.
That's a good point.
That's the game. You got to be perfect. You got to get the play off, both those plays off, and then you're still kicking a 60-yard field goal.
Yeah. Good point. All right. So let me go back to my question. All right. So now how would you feel about this? All right. So they're in overtime. Chiefs win the toss. They get down to that third down situation, but instead of the completion for 20 yards or whatever, let's say it gets intercepted and ran back for a touchdown. That's game over, right?
That's game over.
Okay. All right. Then we're on the same page there.
Yeah, that's game over because that's both teams possess the ball.
Possess the ball. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So
we're on the same wavelength there. So
I agree with that because both teams possess the ball at that point.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
NFL, do your job. Fix it for next year.
You gotta fix that. Like you like. There's no. I wanted more anyway. I'm selfish, right? In this moment, I'm like, no, you can't let him win the game like that. No, look, Josh Allen played a perfect game and he loses. Like the team
without
loses.
even touching the field. That's the crazy part.
Man, he played a perfect game. Freaking special teams coordinator and Coach McDermott. I know he kicked himself about not mortaring that ball.
You know he mad.
Oh my gosh. Dang. Because that'll haunt you forever. And the only thing I can say is, okay, and what we're saying is that a squib kick is along the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Right? A squib kick is along the ground. It could possibly hit somebody, but usually kickers are good enough to get it past the front line. A mortar kick it's in the air, but it's short. And it gets over the line. And that's the difference between the squib and the mortar. Whatever one, you want them to touch the ground in the field of play. And so they have to field it or run up the field, and it buys you more time.
Yeah. I mean,
so yeah. The only thing I can think of is that they were thinking of that. Okay, if it hits somebody and they pick it up at the 40-yard line or something like that, that's the only thing I can see. But even that, the chance of that is very, very low.
I'm guessing. I agree with you. I think if you do a squib kick, there's a possibility that it hits someone. They just get on it, and then also the possibility. And I didn't even check for this, but. If Tyreek Hill is back there, I don't know if I would be kicking a mortar to Tyreek Hill. I know it's a mortar kick, but I'm not even taking that chance with a guy like that. I don't know if he was back there, so yeah, I didn't even check for that. But
that
I'm wondering
you saying it could have been just if it's the Tyreek Devin Hester approach, like I'm not letting that mother touch the ball.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm wondering if that's why.
Why they kicked it deep? Why they kicked it deep?
I didn't notice if he was in or not. I wasn't even paying attention.
I'm pretty sure he was in. If I know Coach Reed, he was in there. I didn't look at this. I didn't look at the tape, I bet you if I go back and look at it now, I bet you he's in there.
And Sean was on our team when the Meadowlands,
Miracle in
Meadowlands.
Yeah,
he's seen enough of them games. He was there at the last one. He was there at the first one or the second one. So he probably was like, "Nah, I'm not even going to give it a chance right now." So I'm not trying to say it was the right move, but I'm saying I can understand a little bit about that. I personally would have squibbed that. I would have squibbed it.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got to buy some time. All right, so let's go into the next one. Who wins between 49ers and Rams? The Niners have had that number. Yeah. Chiefs and Bengals.
Well, between the Rams and the Niners, I think the Niners are 6-0 against the Rams.
Ooh, I gotta look that up.
I think it's something crazy like that. I don't think Shanahan has lost to McVay.
Oh my gosh!
But that being said, it's tough to beat somebody 6 times in a row, especially this Rams team. I mean, the way they looked the other day, especially the first half. Now they almost screwed it all up, but they looked phenomenal in that first half. I'm gonna go with the Rams on this one. I think it's just too hard to beat one team that many times in a row. They got to figure something out.
Yeah, so it's a tough matchup. Here's why it's a tough match. Like this is the Rams' hardest matchup remaining. So yeah, they have 6 straight wins. Yes, 49ers have 6 straight wins against the Rams. Right? So that is right. So that's 3 seasons of beating a butt. Right? right. So in the same division, right? So here's the thing. The Rams do not want to see the Niners. They just don't.
They don't.
It's a division opponent. You're playing them in the NFC Championship against a team that can rush the passer just like your team can.
Mm-hmm. They
can't cover as good, but they can run the ball. And your D line, their strength is not run. Leonard Floyd and Von Miller, they're good, but they're not like great against the run. Von Miller's never been great against the run. They're okay, they're good, but they're not great against the run. So now it's Aaron Donald, who can play the run, but he's more pass rushing, right? Because they're trying to get sacks. and you deploying Deebo Samuel, who may be the most electric player in it. Like, I don't know. I'm like, this dude, like, he's fast, he's big, he's balanced, agile, like, can take a hit. Like, where did they find this dude? Like, where did they find this dude? This is Cordell Patterson, but bigger and stronger and can catch better.
Yeah. And can run better routes.
And run better routes. Like, he's a problem. Like, he's a problem. And so it's like the perfect like matchup for the Rams because it plays on all of their weaknesses. So to be honest with you, I don't know how. If the Rams win this game, it's going to be hard for the Rams not to win the Super Bowl, even against the Chiefs, because the Chiefs can't protect the quarterback with Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and Floyd. You just can't. And we saw it last year versus the Buccaneers.
You're right.
It's just tough. Like, all those weapons, yeah, they're great, but if the quarterback can't get the ball off, who cares?
That's a good point.
Yeah. So I don't know which way to go, but I got to go with the 49ers with 6 straight wins.
Oh, okay, all right.
I think the Rams they paid their money in order to win the Super Bowl. Because this team, when you look at this team, you're like, how did they get all of these players on one team? Just think about the star power they have. They have Cooper Kupp. They got Odell Beckham. They got Rashawn Woods at receiver. They have Jalen Ramsey, Eric Waddle in the secondary. Darius Williams, who was almost a Pro Bowl, if not a Pro Bowler last year at corner. You got you got all your. Who am I missing? You got Aaron Donald, Von Miller. The whole team is stacked. I didn't even say the tight end. The tight end ball, Higbee. Like they ball like they got a brick.
Even they punter. Johnny Heckers was one of the best punters in the game.
They got a brick. They pay for this. If they get there, they're like, boy, we spent some money on this one. I don't know how they're gonna keep it together, but they pay a lot of money for that.
Man, Cronky, he's just worried about getting that one. That's all he needs. Just need one.
He's trying to make LA his. Yeah. The Chargers coming here compete with us. Yeah, he's trying to make LA his forever. Yeah, so I think the Niners can beat the Rams if any team could, but after that, I don't know if any team can beat them, man. Just to be honest. Chiefs, I think the Chiefs would beat the Bengals. I'm not putting it past the Bengals, but Joe Burrow. Who were we talking about? We were talking inside the break. We were talking Jeff. Was it Jeff? And we were talking about Jeff and it's me, you, and Jeff. I think talking about Joe Burrow. Brad Burrow be taking the beat and still delivering a rock.
Right? He was standing tall in that pocket.
Still taking a beating.
And most quarterbacks, and I've talked to this with some of my friends. Most quarterbacks, after getting hit that many times, they gonna start seeing ghosts. They're gonna start getting rid of the ball too quick.
Yeah,
he stays strong, man. He's still young, so maybe that has something to do with it. But I like it, man.
I like Mr. Joe Burrow.
They might pull off an upset, man.
They can because it's an emotional win, right?
Yeah,
they can. Yeah. Anybody can win it. That's the one thing that we've learned about this. All teams that are remaining can win.
Absolutely.
All right, now let's get into the Eagles a little bit. People are using these games to point to the point that Eagles are far from a Super Bowl contender. Fair assessment or not? Is that being prisoner of the moment or not? So let me read that again. People are using these games to point that Eagles are far from a Super Bowl contender. Is that a fair assessment or not? Are we prisoners of the moment?
I mean, that's a tough question. I mean, even when you have a perfect team, like the Rams, look at the Rams. As good as that team is, as many superstars as they were a couple plays away from not even being in the playoffs anymore. So it's not like just because you can put all these great players together, have all this potential, and it just automatically happens. It automatically makes you a Super Bowl contender. There's so much more that goes into it. So I don't think it's a fair assessment. I do feel talent wise, the Eagles team has got to get much better, especially at the skill position, especially the wide receiver position. We need more, better consistent play out of the quarterback position. Um, so all in all, I would say this team, the team is I think it's far away, but not just from a talent perspective. I think it's far away from getting there because it's so difficult to get to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl. I mean, it's even the year that the Eagles won it. I mean, they had a lot that had to go right.
Mm-hmm.
It had a lot, a lot of stuff had to fall right in the right places for it to happen. So, I guess what I'm saying is, being a Super Bowl contender isn't something that's just like, we get all these people together and then it's just going to happen. It's a lot more into it. And I don't think it's really fair to judge this team at the moment by what we see in the playoffs right now.
I do. I disagree 100%.
I knew it. All right.
Let me tell you why. So I disagree. Because this proves to us that if there weren't a 7th seed, the Eagles wouldn't be in the playoffs. And they showed to us that they didn't belong in the playoffs. So it lets us know how far away we are. Now, we're not just far away with talent. We can see the differences in all of these rosters. But we can see the difference also in coaching and creative play calling and scheme and, game like, from all of it. The teams that are playing well and playing at a high level are well-oiled machines. Our team struggles with keeping contained on a reverse. Our team struggles with, time, just not time, but like just bad penalties and critical situations. KYP, not knowing your personnel. Game was on the line. Who got the ball for the Chiefs? Tyreek Hill,
and
Travis Kelce twice.
Yeah.
We throw the ball to Jalen Reagor in critical situations. Like KYP, know your personnel. Like in these situations, they're going to the hot hand. They're going to the players that are making plays. Cooper Kupp. Game went up. You want to play a 0 against me? Somebody didn't get the call. First of all, why in the hell would you play a 0 in that situation?
Man.
For the love of Jim Johnson right there. What was what?
I was like,
and Jim would have did that too. I'm not gonna tell you that Jim wouldn't, but they would at least Jim would have had a call communicated. Like
listen, if Jim would have called that, it'd have been there's no way that ball would have got off if Jim would have called something like that.
No, not from the freaking 35-40. You call a 0 blitz on 3rd down with the game on the line, and all they have to do is get a field goal. Like, are you kidding me? I love Ty Bowles, but that right there with that I love the aggression. I can respect it. To a man, I can respect it. But you crazy as hell for that call.
You know what it reminded me of Greg Williams. Greg Williams last year when he was with the Jets. Was it the year before? And what was the young receiver? Ruggs. He called a 0 blitz on Ruggs.
He ran right past him.
Ran right past him. That's what it reminded me of. I'm like, what is going on here?
First of all, I want to know what Cooper Kupp runs in the 40 because he be gassing people. Like he has tact and all of that, and that's what makes it special. Usually, when a player has understanding and ability of how to run routes and technique, and they're technicians, when they are fast too, it makes it look like they are super fast, like they're 4.3 fast. And I bet you Cooper Kupp is like a low 4.4, 4.4 mid. But because his routes are so crispy and he knows when to stick and he's not dependent on speed, it makes him look so much faster. So I'm getting kind of off the point a little bit. But to get back to my original point, the Eagles roster have to get a lot better fast.
Yeah.
we weren't able to compete against any of these teams, right? And then who wants to come here?
Yeah.
Think about that. I saw a report of saying, there should be some, because of Jalen Hurts' leadership ability, and he has great leadership ability, that, guys would be willing to come here. That's not how it works. Who? Receivers? Good ones? They trying to win Super Bowl. They trying to get that money. They trying to get the money.
Open that.
Right? They want to know who's going to get them the ball. That's what they want to know. How can I get my next contract? How can I win the Super Bowl? If I can't get the money, how can I win the Super Bowl? And you think that their first destination is, oh man, it's Philadelphia, man. It's the beach. It's summer outside. It's lovely. Not like, that's not our city. It ain't a party city. It ain't going to Miami to kick it. It ain't going to San Diego and kicking it. No, you got to have something, a player, or organization, a history, something that's going to propel and or somebody else to come to you. And right now with our roster, right now with the way we're playing football and with the pieces that we have, ain't no way in hell somebody coming here. I love y'all, but I'm just keeping it true, keeping it 100 with you. Sorry.
No.
I'm just, it's too much dysfunction. It's inconsistent quarterback play. It's an unattractive roster. It's all of those things. And in order for us to be able to compete for one of these quarterbacks, and we'll get to that later because I'm gonna make that point and it'd be a little bit too fast.
This is my only rebuttal to all that.
Go ahead.
All right. Year one. All right. That's it.
Year one for Jalen?
Year one for the entire staff. This is technically year one for Jalen still too. I mean, he had a couple games in his rookie season, but to me, technically, this was like year one. So if you look at it from now, right. I agree with everything that you said. I agree with all of that. And you're right. This roster, there's nobody that's going to come here unless they start either opening that pocketbook or start bringing in more talent. I agree with you 100%. But also, when I said about not being far from a contender, we also got to put in perspective that this was just the first year, and they did make it to the playoffs in their first year.
All right, good. I give you that. Touche. I got you. First year, you got that one. That's only gonna last for the next 3 games. You're gonna after 3 games. You're in your second year in the NFL, right? A year and 3 games, 2 years.
You're right.
All right. Let's talk about it. People are using the divisional game to show the difference between having an elite quarterback and someone like Jalen Hurts. You want to talk about that? I think I just covered a little bit about it.
Yeah.
You want to go to the next question?
Let's go next. I mean, that's proof is in the pudding right there. I mean, we already
there is no comparison to those quarterbacks, and yes, there has to be some progress made, a lot of progress to be made by Jalen Hurts to be considered top whatever. And just think about this with these guys. There's a lot of people that's vying for this top 10, this top 12, this top 14. It's a lot of good quarterbacks in this, right? We're talking about Mahomes and Allen and Burrow and Herbert and Lamar Jackson and Stafford and Brady. Who else am I missing in this group that I just said, right? So Deshaun Watson. And
you could argue Kirk Cousins,
Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott. That's 11 people right there. Yeah. That's not saying Tannehill. That's 12. Like Derek he didn't Carr. Play well. He didn't. Kyler Murray. Like that's 13. Like when you start getting into this, it's hard to crack that. And just think about that. I just named you 13 quarterbacks. Only 14 teams make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Now we were fortunate enough to be in that position this year, but it's tough for him to get into that place even next year. And Q, I know it's the first year, and you're saying, I'm not saying that he isn't going to work his butt off. I'm not saying all of that, but I'm saying to get that type of a jump, he has to be working with Tom Brady night in, night out, Peyton Manning, like going to sleep at his house. What are you thinking at? What do you look? There has to be some massive growth,
Yeah. I saw, and we can go on to the next point at this, but I saw on social media somewhere where someone was comparing Hurts's second year stats to Josh Allen's second year stats and how similar they were. And I just want I want people to understand that stats can be deceiving. Okay. So just because the numbers look very similar, it could mean completely different things. So people that are expecting like this meteoric rise from Jalen Hurts, oh, he's going to be the next Josh Allen, do not expect that. It's going to be a long process. I believe it's going to be a long process because of the things we talked about: the arm talent, the arm strength, the system, the quarterback, the offensive coordinators, like all of that comes into play when we're talking about a quarterback. So just because the stats are similar, it's not going to end up being the same.
And this is what Q is saying. Listen, with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, the room for error is here. Because if they're late, Josh Allen's late, it don't really matter. I got a bazooka. I can still make it up. Right? Oh, he's on the other side of the field. I can throw it across my body, and I'm one of the 3 in the NFL that can make the throw. The room for error is so much greater. Jalen Hurts, I don't have the biggest arm. I'm not the most accurate. I have to be perfect in my technique. And in order for me to play at a high level, I have to be precise and efficient, knowing the game in and out mentally, knowing the game in and out technically.
That's perfect.
And that's what we're saying. It's going to take a longer process because what they're working on are 2 totally different things.
Boom.
Yeah. So Eagles last week pledged allegiance to Jalen Hurts as a starter. Is this surprising? Is it a backtrack from the past from the stance Howie that the team needs an elite quarterback, dynamic passing game to win Super Bowl? I'm not saying nothing until you say something.
the first thing I thought when I heard that was, oh, Jalen, don't trust anything that he says. if Howie came out and said he's our starting quarterback of the future, I would not trust it. I would not trust it at all. And I only say that because I don't know for sure, but I just feel like somewhere I heard something, maybe on the radio or something, that Howie didn't necessarily like what he's seeing from Jalen, but Mr. Lurie did, and so maybe Howie's kind of echoing what his boss is wanting him to say. I don't think that Howie likes Jalen as a quarterback. I think he always wants to make a big splash. I think, he's going to do what he has to do. He's going to, it might be Jalen for this season. I think his mindset is to build some players, but I don't think personally that Howie has Jalen Hurts in mind in the future. I think he's going to build this team. He's going to bring some playmakers in, and right when you get all that going, he's going to bring someone else in. That's just my gut feeling on this.
Yeah,
it's tough. I mean, you bring in Sirianni, and you don't want a quarterback, an offensive coordinator, a new head coach. He's going to want to win with his own guy. He did not pick Jalen Hurts. That's just my whole feeling. I don't think that whatever Howie said, I just don't believe it.
I was flabbergasted when they mentioned it. Yeah. I was like, wait, what? That's my initial response because, and listen to me when I say this, because I don't want to hear the hate in my DMs or when I'm walking down the street. All right, so hear me when I'm saying this, all right? Jalen Hurts is an outstanding person. He's a generational leader. There's no way that you can meet Jalen Hurts as a person and not root for him. He's that impressive. He's that charismatic. and he's that accountable, right? He's going to hold the team accountable. Great leader, great person for the locker room that you need on any NFL football team, any team in America, in the world in general. Perfect teammate. Perfect. Numbers. Excluding the person, because I love the person. I love his work ethic. I love everything about that. I love that he will grow and become a better player. Jalen Hurts is not going anywhere around this National Football League. He's going to be here for 12, 15 years until he wants to retire, because that's how good of a person he is, and he still works hard, right? So I think he's going to be around, right? So 3,144 yards is what he passed for, which is 21st in the NFL. He threw for 16 touchdowns, which is 23rd in the NFL. 9 interceptions, that was his best stat, 8th in the NFL. Right? Rushing yards, he had 784 rushing, 5.6 yards. He had 10 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts as a passer, 16-9. 16-9 is bottom NFL quarterback and or backup quarterback. There's nothing that you're doing with 16-9 that's affecting the outcome of the game. Now, when you couple that with the rushing, now you have something that's going to put you on the plus side of the win and the loss column. So I get your point. But are we judging Jalen Hurts as a quarterback? Or are we judging Jalen Hurts as a guy that we need to tailor the offense to and mix in the run game in order for us to win? Because now if we're going to do that, we got to burn every boat that, every ship that we've started out with. So yes, all those speedy receivers that you built up and that you wanted to draft in order to become more like the Kansas City Chiefs, that plan was it was a waste of draft picks if you're going to go this route.
I got you.
Because you did that saying we need to get faster, we need to get more playmakers in order to be a prolific offense. You didn't do that in order to have a Baltimore Ravens style offense where there's 2 feature players in the receiving game, which we have 2 feature players, right? You got what's the tight end's name there? And the receiver. I can't think of
Andrews.
Andrews, Mark Andrews, and Hollywood. Yeah. So you got those 2 guys. That's your whole offense when it comes to passing. Yeah. The third receiver, I don't know his name. It was Sammy Watkins. He didn't play much. He didn't get in the ball. So I don't know. No one knows. No one's ever known about the third receiver there. All the time Lamar Jackson's been there. And that's what this offense will be reduced to if we go down this path, if Jalen Hurts does not progress. So with that being said, Jalen Hurts from a passing standpoint hasn't proven that he deserves to be the starter next year. Now, if you're saying to me, I have assessed the free agent quarterback pool and saying, okay, my roster isn't good enough. Deshaun Watson, I can't convince him to come here. Russell Wilson still has years on his contract, and Seattle's really not going to let him get out. Aaron Rodgers, why would Aaron Rodgers want to come to Philadelphia when there's other teams like Denver who has it pretty much set up to go for him on every side? Their defense is good. Their receivers are good. They're pretty much set and play right now. Like, why would I choose the Eagles over Denver? Why would I choose the Eagles over Tampa Bay Buccaneers if Tom Brady leaves? Why would I choose these? So if the free agent market pool is dried up, and how he looked at it and assessed that and said, I'm not going to be able to land a big time free agent. And then he looked at the draft and said, you know what, we're picking in the teens. All the good quarterbacks are going to be gone. Oh, Jalen Hurts got to be our starter. If that was his decision making, I understand why he said that. If he was that logical, looking at the draft, looking at the reality of the free agent market pool when it comes to quarterbacks, if he looked at it and said, well, Jalen Hurts, based on all of these circumstances, is our quarterback going forward, then I agree with Howard. But if he just said, Jalen Hurts' play alone is the reason that we are moving forward, I can't say that's substantiated. I want him to do well. I want him to do better. But I'm just saying, from what I've seen, it's not substantiated that he can be the starter next year. I can't say that.
Yeah. So, all right. That was awesome. No, well, you broke it down, and let's listen. Let's hope that he looked at it that way, because the way you just broke that down made a ton of sense for me.
Yeah. So we'll see.
I still think, no matter what, I agree with you. I still think that he let's move on.
No, there could be some other ones. There could be a Jimmy G. Right? Because Trey Lance is coming on unless they win the Super Bowl. If they don't win the Super Bowl, say they get blasted by the Rams, right? Mm-hmm. Trey Lance is probably going to be starting quarterback next year. So Jimmy G's probably there. Kirk Cousins is probably there.
Mm.
Would you do all of that for Kirk Cousins or Jimmy G?
No.
All right, let's move on.
Maybe. Listen, wait, hold on though. Are we do all what though? Are we going back to the draft picks like we talked about last week?
Exactly. They got contracts like Kurt has been making freaking $30 million a year.
I would pay. Listen, if it's just signing him and you don't have to give up a whole bunch of draft picks, I would bring Kirk Cousins in.
Oh,
now that being said, I know.
I like Kirk Cousins. I don't dislike Kirk Cousins.
We're probably with him. What I think Kirk Cousins is, I think he's a good enough quarterback to get you to the playoffs. He'll help your receivers develop, which we need. He'll help keep the offense in a good, positive position. I don't think he's the type of quarterback that's going to go out and win a game for you. I don't think he's going to win a playoff game for you. I don't think he's going to go and dominate in the postseason and win the Super Bowl for you. But I think he could help this team develop.
Kurt is a weird case because there's something that he isn't doing in the biggest moments that's causing him to be on the plus side of victories, though his stats look good. Like there's guys that always whose stats never are bad, like Alex Smith, for an example. Like Alex Smith, I love him, play with him. His stats are always going to look great. And there may be a situation where he didn't affect the game the way that you want in the waning moments or something like that. And it may look like no, that's a bad example because Alex freaking won playoff games. So I can't. So I forgive me, Alex, for even if you listen to that. I apologize for putting you in that category. But Kirk Cousins is Dak Prescott. Just one black, one white, one can run, one can't. But it's the same thing. You may get to playoffs, you may not. There's a lot of things that occur, but neither one of them winning the playoff game.
Fair enough. That's it.
So yeah,
let me get this read.
Go ahead.
Oh, all right. So 4 teams remain in the NFL playoffs, and that means only 4 teams left that you can bet on at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Counting down to Super Bowl 56, new customers can get 56-1 odds on any team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. Not a new customer, you can experience the conference championships with the same game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. DraftKings is a safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code ITB and get 56-1 odds on any NFL team. Bet just $5 and win $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's promo code ITB for 56-1 odds at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. You must be 21 and older, Pennsylvania only, new customers only, restrictions apply. Sorry about that. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Nice. DraftKings. We appreciate you. Somebody was telling me about a parlay bet. I said, well, I'm about to make 15 of them this upcoming week. He's like, it's $10. You can win $1 million. I was like, for $10? had me hooked. I was looking at all the picks.
Man, he would have like he probably had to play some like crazy phenomenal best to get that. That would
Yeah,
be.
I'm sure he had to get like 12 things right, and I'm pretty sure one of them was like, something random. I bet the kicker has to kick all touchbacks for the entire game in Green Bay type of thing. So
For real. They're fun though, man. I've done a few of them. They're a good time.
yeah, so he's like, man, I'm gonna win this bet, and he showed me one of his bets. So I was thinking about it on the game. I was like, he lost that one. He got his $10. Oh my god. All right, so here we go. Let's get into the questions.
Okay.
Lewis C. There's a clip of the Bucks defense saying of Hurts, it's one of their members, their coaches actually. This guy can't read. Keep him moving around now. He can't read. He's going to give us a couple. Was wondering your thoughts. I was wondering your thoughts on this. Is that what's being said about him around the league? I remember during the year in a game conference, he broke down the play coverage and said it was impressive. So wondering why, what's true about Hurts. Also, does Hurts have the authority to change plays?
Okay. So yeah, I think Lewis C. I saw this clip. I know what you're talking about. They must have been on the sidelines, and I think it was one of the coaches saying he can't read, keep it moving. So to me, what that tells me, it doesn't tell me that Jalen Hurts overall isn't seeing the coverages. It doesn't tell me overall that Jalen Hurts can't read basic coverages or blitz schemes. But it does tell me in that instance, against the Bucks, they probably were showing him something he hadn't seen before. And I watched that game. I watched the blitz schemes. For a young quarterback, the stuff that they were throwing at Jalen Hurts early in the game was tough. So it probably was true that he wasn't seeing the pressures. It probably was true that he wasn't being able to read the coverage. I think that's more of an experience thing. I think the more experience you get in the game, the better you'll see that stuff, and the more confidence in yourself. So for me personally, like the second part of this question, when they were talking about how he broke down a coverage, and during a play and then was impressed by it. I mean, a lot of times you can, as a quarterback or any type of player, if you are breaking down something that you've studied all week, if you're breaking down something that you've seen all week, it's pretty easy to do. It's pretty easy to sound like you know what you're talking about, or to just straight out know what you're talking about. And it's very easy when you've seen something for the first time that you weren't used to seeing to look completely dumbfounded. So to me personally, I think that this was all kind of a mixture of new coverages and schemes being thrown at him in a high pressure situation, and he wasn't seeing it. I mean, it's tough sometimes, especially when you got a defensive coordinator like Todd Bowles over there throwing all kind of stuff at you, throwing a kitchen sink at you. And then, on the other side, him breaking down the play. So I guess what my main point is, it's never as bad or as good as you think. So as good as he might have sounded breaking down the plays, he's still got a long way to go. He's still got a long way to develop. And as bad as he might have looked, or as bad as they were talking about him on the sidelines and talking about how he couldn't read anything, it's never as bad as that either. So he's still, in my opinion, he's still got to develop. He's still got to grow. He just got thrown some new stuff that he wasn't being used. He probably wasn't used to seeing. I mean, it happens. It happens to everybody. So I think he's still gonna, I think Hurts is still gonna develop. He's just got to get in the film room more and start to talk to, like you said, talk to different quarterbacks around the league and go back with the coaching staff and look at what happened in that playoff game and study and break down and be ready for it next time.
Yeah. Like you said, it's never as bad as it seems, right? So it looks demoralizing to the fan base, because it's like, oh, that team thinks that he's not a good enough player. Like when certain teams have your numbered, everybody's talking trash on the sideline, coaches included. He can't hang with you. They told me all this week. They say all type of stuff. And some people take it to heart. Some people don't. Yes, were they confusing a young quarterback? It happens. And most quarterbacks that young are going to be confused, going to look like a deer in headlights against that type of talent that can get after the passer and guys that can cover on the outside and make it difficult. Those safeties for the Buccaneers are some animals. They can do a lot, a lot. And they were everywhere in that game. Leonard and what was the other two? Antoine Winfield Jr. and then there was another, Whitehead. Yeah, that's who it was. It was Whitehead. Always near the line of scrimmage, and the one that made the pick as well. So they have a big nickel thing going on that they can roll with.
Yeah.
So it was confusing. They have a lot of interchangeable parts in the back end. When you have Levante David, and you have Devin White, and you have those safeties, you can play any coverage that you really want to.
Yeah.
You just can, because linebackers can cover tight ends, safeties can cover tight ends. It's a good situation. So I think that it just got to him in that game. Does he know how to read the defense? From looking at all he was probably right, but most young players in that situation. Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago couldn't read the defense, but he had good quarterback feel.
Yeah. So
that's why I stand with it. As far as him being able to articulate a play, everybody can articulate a play, hindsight and or, preparing for a game or knowing the coverage.
Yeah.
And what the coverage should be. When it's moving, that's a totally different thing. When the coverages are shifting in moments and they're rocking and rolling and guys are blitzing and the fronts are shifting and the linebackers are rotating and people are it's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this question. We're gonna go off real quick because I'm curious about this, and I noticed it. I noticed it early in the year, but I noticed it really in the Buccaneers game. Why don't we ever do? We're from the shotgun a lot. Why don't we ever do dummy counts? Because they were timing up those double corner blitzes very, very good. Why don't we do dummy counts? So that would probably allow him to start to see some of that stuff.
Question: why don't we do dummy counts? Well, I don't know. Maybe because when you do a dummy count, a lot of times the dummy count it's not just a count. It could be a change of a play. It could be more quarterback responsibility in that account. And usually the dummy count is no play. That's what's called dummy, right? So it's a no play account. And then the quarterback from the offensive coordinator, the quarterback can give you they can give you two plays, right? Dummy, this play and this play. Because they want to see what the defense is giving before they make a determination on a play. Do they think that he can handle two plays?
Mm. Yeah. So for everyone, explain the dummy counts because
All right. So if we go into the huddle and there is a dummy call. Usually a dummy call, there's either no play and a quarterback can call the play from the line of scrimmage, right? So there could be a 2-minute play. There could be a play that everyone knows. It's usually a play that everyone knows. But the quarterback has autonomy in that situation in order to get us in the right play. But when we line up to go to the line of scrimmage, there is no play until he determines that. Or they can say, hey, the play is this. The play is double wing left, zebra left, 200 jet flanker drive, zebra post, alert, all of that same thing, but, let's say 45, halfback draw 45 or something like that. So it's basically two plays being called, same formation. And it's up to the quarterback to make that determination, but it's on dummy, meaning that there's no play to start, and then we determine if we're going to play one or two. So it can be either the first where there's no play and a quarterback calls it himself, and or the coach give you 2 plays. But there's a lot of information that you have to be able to decipher in that moment from a quarterback standpoint. So that may be the reason why we don't do dummy in these situations.
Gotcha. Makes sense. All right. So,
and it's not like college where you can look at the sideline and they give you the play.
All right, here we go. G. Watson. With the regression of Rager, Hightower, and Fulgham, should the Eagles move on from the wide receiver coach?
Oh. Damn. The Eagles wide receiver coach didn't draft him up. He had no say in the draft. I promise you. No, he probably did have some say in the Rager thing because they knew each other. But I'm saying no, he ain't like it wasn't on him. Do you?
This is a tough one.
This is a tough one because I got like intimate knowledge and stuff, so I won't go too far. But what I'm saying is this. This is how NFL team works. Not even NFL team. Let me show you how offensive staff works. It goes the head coach, especially when it's offensive head coach, offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, or whoever the passing game coordinator is, offensive line, running back, tight ends, and then the receiver coach is last in every team when it comes to decision making. The offensive line coach can get a receiver drafted faster than the receiver coach.
That's crazy.
Right? Because offensive line, I need a guy that can dig out that safety and then make our running game prolific, help quarterback out. He can come up with a reason. Receiver coach, you watch all this tape in the summertime of all these receivers, but they're never going to pick the one you tell them to. So the receiver coach is kind of last on the totem pole. So I would be very, very hard pressed to see them let go of Coach Moorhead in this situation. And then when you think about Nick Sirianni is a receivers coach. Y'all don't know that, but he was a receivers coach for many years. So the style that Sirianni, and I've been to their practices, Sirianni hangs out with the receivers a bunch, and whatever Sirianni wants, that's what Aaron Moorhead is teaching the receivers. He probably can't even teach what he wants because Nick Sirianni has been coaching receivers so much, and he loves being around the receivers. So I don't know if he should be the sacrifice in this situation. I think the person that's picking them up should be the sacrifice in the situation.
Boom. And let's add to that. All right. It hasn't been all bad.
Fulgham has some good time. Well, it's been bad. Yeah, it's been bad. It's been bad. Because I can't front you. I can't front you. It's been bad. Now, Fulgham, I don't know why Fulgham's name is in here because Fulgham was an undrafted player. We picked him up. We didn't know if he was any good. He had a few games, and y'all put him in here like he was being drafted in the top 2-3. I would have seen like Quez's name in here or something, or JJ, I think a Whiteside name in here. But to put Fulgham in there, just slide him in there, G. Watson. You tripping. I'm messing with you, man. I'm messing with you. But yeah. So do I think that just from me being there, and I'm gonna give you guys some intimate details in this moment, the receivers need more technical time. There's not enough time in a practice to get it all done. The receivers by themselves, and not just with cones, not just with drills running toward the sideline, making sure they're catching, against other DBs, need as much one-on-one time and problem-solving time as they can. I was fortunate to go to University of Michigan during the time that I went to University of Michigan. We had all cornerbacks that played in the NFL: Marlon Jackson, Leon Hall, Jeremy LeSueur, like guys that played in the NFL. And they pressed us every single day. So I had enough time to test and try releases and learn different nuances and head fakes in order to get these guys off of me. The receivers that they're drafting didn't come from programs that did this. This is not LSU, Alabama that are pressing people man to man. Their receivers come out and be like Jamar Chase, come out and be like Devontae Smith or whatever it is. These group of receivers that we're talking about that are in question came from smaller schools with less press coverage, and they need time apart just to learn that. They need more concentration and focus just on route running technique when people are near you. That's what they need.
I like it.
Yeah. All right, let me ask you this question. Jeremy T. I have heard a number of ITB host guests talk about Jalen not seeing the field, being late, especially deep balls, and not throwing his receiver open. Is timing something that he can learn? Could lateness be a matter of confidence? And if so, confidence in his arm or confidence that his receivers will actually get open and win? I'm sure the other quarterbacks struggle with these issues early in their career, but don't know if they can overcome it or get a chance to. Sounds like us. That's a big question.
It's a big question. It's a loaded question.
We'll answer some parts of it.
Yeah. I think the first part, I think it's something they can learn. It's an anticipation thing. And it comes from experience. It comes from film study. It comes from, being able to read the coverages better. It also comes from timing
and lateness, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, you're right. And then, the last part I add to that, where it comes from, is the receivers they've got to start getting open too. I mean, it's one thing to say, listen, it's the cover four. We're going to run a pin route post. We're going to run a sit down with a post on it. It's one thing to just run a regular post, and it's one thing to make sure that your quarterback knows that you're going to be where he's supposed to be on that post route when he lets it go. So I think it's going to be a combination for him to be able to get this stuff done, because, like we said before, he doesn't have the arm strength that Josh Allen does. He's going to have to get with his receivers. He's got to understand their routes, when they're going to run the ball, when they're going to break, where they want the ball, and do a better job in film study and understand that his arm strength doesn't allow him to be late. He's got to be more of a timing quarterback. If I were him, it sounds stupid, and I'll let you go after this, but it sounds stupid, but a quarterback that, if I were him, and I don't even know if he'd be able to find tape of this, but a quarterback that, if I were him, that I would probably go try to look at is someone like Jeff Garcia. Jeff Garcia did not have the strongest arm, was not the biggest guy, but he knew how to throw on time. He knew how to put the ball in the right spot, and he knew all about the timing of the routes and when to let the ball go. Well, why are you laughing?
I agree with you. It just reminded me of a story with Jeff Garcia. I remember we playing the Saints down there in the playoffs, and they were talking about Jeff Garcia can't throw. And we had a deep cross called on the first play of the game. And freaking Hank is wide open. Hank Basket is wide open on this deep cross. But Jeff Garcia all week, he can't throw. He hauls off and chucks the post route with two people covering the post just to underthrow it.
No.
Well, he threw it all early. It still wasn't like the best throw in the world.
Okay, but, so maybe not Jeff.
No. Jeff is the perfect example. That just made me think about it, right? It just made me think of that story. It's like Jeff was fiery like that. Yeah, I can do it. But yes, he had to be on time. So Kurt Warner, Jeff Garcia, Drew Brees didn't have the biggest arm in the world. There's a lot of guys with small arms, like Todd Pennington.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of guys that just doesn't have
Chad.
I said Todd. Yeah. Chad Pennington, yeah. Doesn't have big arms. You know what I mean? there's a bunch of guys that have played this game for a long time that don't have the arm. So it can be done. You just have to be efficient, have to be on time. You have to know what you're looking at in order to be on time. That's the thing. The guys that they got, and that's why I say it's going to be a struggle for Jalen Hurts, because he's learned the game the opposite way from an athletic standpoint, which causes you to be a little bit later than you normally would. So you have to uninstall all of the old information that you've had and upload new information of playing this game with your mind first. And that's the only way that you're going to be able to survive with the talent level that he has.
Good point.
Yeah. All right, let's hit this really quick and we get out of here, Q. Manscaped read. Support for the Q&A show is brought to you by Manscaped, champions of the world for men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels, and they just launched their fourth-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard it right, 4.0. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with man code QA at manscaped.com. Imagine shaving with a sleek and well-designed and optimized trimmer that makes shaving time your favorite time in the bathroom. I've tried the 4.0 and I'm blown away with the craftsmanship and details are second level. Nobody wants to get hurt down there. You know what I mean. So Manscaped engineered the ultimate growing and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and an incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Their fourth generation trimmer has a cutting-edge ceramic blade that reduces those accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. You got to be comfortable down there. This upgraded trimmer also has a multi-function on and off switch that can engage a travel lock and has a 4000K LED spotlight that can turn on and off for more precision on your shave. The new lawnmower even allows you to customize your trim with garland in sizes 1 through 4. How about wireless charging? Their new wireless charging system uses electromagnetic induction to help the battery last longer. Men, you can't use the same trimmer on your nuts and face. Nobody needs pubes in their mouth. Get your own ball hair and body trimmer with Manscaped. Make me time the best time like Jason Avant always does. Get 20% off and free shipping with code QA at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Get 20% off and free shipping with code QA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use QA. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped, and your balls will thank you. All right, Q, these last two questions. These few questions. Let's Eagles defense. Are you surprised Jonathan Gannon is getting 3 head coaching interviews?
Absolutely. Well, I will say this. I'm surprised. I'm surprised this year, seeing how the defense, in my opinion, in a lot of people's opinion, underachieved, so to speak. There was no creativity. But you know, as I know in the NFL, what it's all about, getting these interviews. And you know, when he came into the Eagles facility, I remember all the excitement about him. Oh, he's young, he's fiery. He seems like he's dapping all the players. Like, I feel like he's very good at playing the game. I think he's very good at going into interviews and exuding confidence. I think he's very good at talking and doing probably X's and O's. He's probably phenomenal at it. But as you know, a big part of this game, especially on defense, is you got to have balls.
Yeah.
And I didn't see it.
Oh.
And to me, the way he came in, the way he did his interviews, the way he, was kind of putting himself out there is not what we saw in his play calling. It was very, very safe, very scared. And maybe that's what some owners like, and maybe that's what they wanted in the interviews. But if I'm an owner and I want a defensive-minded head coach, I don't want a defensive-minded head coach that's afraid to call coverages and change the coverages up.
Yeah.
That's me personally.
I would rather have a Todd Bowles blitzing at the 35-yard line and a zero coverage than a guy that's going to sit back in there. Like, his guys didn't communicate that. There's no way that ball isn't at least short if both those linebackers are in A gaps.
Yeah.
Right? Or there's no way. It's impossible, right? That he's getting that ball off down that far, down the field. So was it miscommunicated? Yes. Would I called it, and I think it was a bonehead call, but I would rather us go out with us attacking mud. Well, we're attacking people. You know what I mean? I would rather go out attacking rather than just getting sitting back and getting dinked and dunked down the field. And yes, do I understand that the defense ended up finishing the regular season top 10? Yes, I understand that they were top in rushing defense. I understand that they got better over the last 8 games. I credit Jonathan Gannon for that because there was some adjustment to man coverage and getting TJ Edwards in there, Davion Taylor there at one point. And the guys started to play a little bit better, buying into the system. But ultimately, there was nothing that was shown that was that ground shaking that causes somebody to get an interview. That's really disrespectful to a lot of people. David Culley, been in this league 30, 40 years, gets fired after one season, or a guy like Rex Ryan that's sitting calling freaking games on ESPN, analyzing games, and he can't get a job, and his team has went to 4, AFC championships, and his dad was known defense. He had defense with the Ravens. He had a great defense with the Jets, and he can't get a job. But you got this young dude that's coached 1 year and had an okay year that can get it. It doesn't make sense to me at all. So you, and forgive me, and I'm not hating on Jonathan Gannon. I'm not saying that his day is not coming. What I'm saying is that certain things about the NFL bothers me to no end. There's no way that Leslie Frazier's name can't be a part of a coaching decision. There's no way that, there's so many different players, so many different defensive coordinators.
DeMeco Ryan.
Like there's so many, like how is this happening and how is it? And I'm not trying to make this a black-white thing. That's why I gave you the name Rex Ryan. I give you the name. You can go on and on and on and on and go on from Hazlitt to whoever else. Like all of these guys that have been that have been defensive coordinators for many, many years. You don't think that they're going to be able to outcoach Jonathan Gannon on any given time? Like, yes, they could. They can. Yeah. I'm not hating on them. I'm just keeping it 100.
That's it.
Yeah. But again, this year I seen Hines Ward get a freaking head coaching interview by the Texans, so you never know what happens in this instance.
You know what that's about.
Yeah. That's all I got about that, man.
Yeah, let's end it there.
Yeah, that's all I got.
don't want to talk about that no more.
Yeah.
I'm still pissed about this defense, man.
Yeah. Q, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the insight. You're awesome as usual. To the fans out there, continue to tune in to the Q&A show on Inside the Verse platform. We drop every Thursday morning at 6 a.m. Thank you guys for everything that you do for us and tuning into the show. To Jeff, to Adam, and everybody that's responsible at Inside the Verse, Hunter and Josh. Thank you guys for giving us an opportunity. And Q, you got the final words.
As always, man, I enjoyed it. Had a good time. Fans, I love you guys. Thank you. Keep supporting us. And, we'll keep this ride going, man.
Go Birds anyway.